Alright, so today we're going to be still working with triangular prisms, and today we're going to be finding the volume of those triangular prisms. Before we do that, just a quick reminder about finding the height of our triangular base, okay? So when you're thinking about a triangular prism, the base, which is what the prism lies on, is always the triangle. Even if the picture doesn't show that, the base is always going to be your two triangles, okay? So when we look at these triangles, these are three different kinds of triangles. We have this type of triangle, we have this type of triangle, and this type of triangle. And the tricky thing is finding the height of these triangles. So when you think of height, think about you're measuring yourself, and you're going to measure yourself from the very bottom, which would be our base, all the way up to the top until the triangle stops, okay? All the way up to the top. So in this case, in this triangle, the bottom all the way up to the top happens to be this side, okay? But if we look at this second triangle, that's not always the case, okay? So here's our bottom again, but if we're going to measure up all the way to the top, that goes all the way up to here, so it's right up the middle. So our height has to be this. It is not one of the side lengths. And on this third one, it's the same thing. The base is here, but if we're going to measure all the way up, it's actually easier to think, okay, I'm going to start here and go all the way up to the tip, okay? So the height of our triangles is kind of a tricky thing, and you have to be very careful to use the right measurement. Alright, so before we get started on trying to solve for the volume of triangular prisms, let's just one more time review what the formula is before we exercise it in a problem. So it's the area of one of your triangles, okay, and that's base times height divided by 2, but find the area of one of your triangles, so one of the two in red, and you multiply it by the prism height, which is not the same as your triangle height. So here's an image for you to think of. Here's a triangular prism, okay, a very basic one. We have our triangles, okay, and you're going to need to find the area of one of those triangles for this part, and you're going to multiply that by your prism height. The prism height, and you're going to hear me say this over and over again in the lesson, it's always the lines that connect your two triangles. That's how tall our prism is, okay? It's not the height of your triangle. It's the lines that connect your two triangles. So in this case, the height of your triangle, for instance, would be how tall your triangle is. So it would be right there, okay, off of your 90-degree angle that makes. The height of your prisms, again, would be the lines that connect your triangles. Okay, so going that way. So that was just a little visual review before we try to do this in action. Alright, so let's try this one together, so try to follow along with me as I do this. So remember, volume equals, I think this is the most friendly version of our formula for volume. It's the area of one of your triangles, times the height of the entire prism, okay? So here we have to do a calculation. Here, we just have to find the height of our prism. So the area of one of our triangles, okay? So remember, area of a triangle equals base times height divided by 2. Okay, so let's exercise that. So we have to find our base, and then our base, and then the height of our triangle. So always look for where that 90-degree angle is. When you find that, the base and the height are going to jet right off of that 90-degree angle. So in this case, the way I look at this, and I guess you could flip it if you wanted to, but the base would be 5, and then the height, how tall it is, in this case happens to be also a side of your triangle, and it goes straight up, because that does cover the entire height of your triangle. So our base would be 5, and you could flip that depending on how you looked at it. 5, and then times the height, which again we said, then that jets right off of that 90-degree angle. That would be 12. And then we're going to go ahead and divide that by 2. So 5 times 12 is 60. That equals 60, and then we're going to divide that by 2. And 60 divided by 2 is 30. So let's write 30 down here. That equals 30. Okay. So now we know the first part of our formula. We know the area of my triangle is 30. So let's write that down. So volume equals area of our triangle, now we know is 30. And we're going to multiply that by prism height. Or height of prism. Doesn't matter. Okay. So now here, we don't have to do a calculation for this, but we have to find it. Remember, like I said in the last slide, the height of your prism are always the lines that connect your two triangles, okay? So find your two triangles and then find, okay, what lines connect my triangles. In this case, there's always going to be 3 lines. They're always going to be the same 3 lines, okay? So this line connects the triangles, this line connects the triangle, and this line connects the triangle. And each one of those lines is 6, 6, and 6. So the height of my prism is 6. So volume equals the area of your triangle, 30, okay, times the prism height, you said was 6, because 6 connects your two triangles. And then 30 times 6, V equals 180. And then now let's not forget our label. It's miles, and volume is always cubed. Okay. So there's one. Okay, so before I start this problem, I must just take about 15 seconds here to tell you how excited I am that there's a cat on our triangular prism. I wish that every single triangular prism could have a nice, cute little kitten on it, because you guys know how much I love my kittens. Okay. Anyways, now that I got that out, we're going to find the volume of this. So you're going to see that I scribbled out the word problem. We're not going to do that. We'll do that later in the unit. We're just going to concentrate again on finding the volume of this. Okay, so a reminder, and this will be posted in the room, it's posted on the test, but to find the volume of a triangular prism, you take the area of your triangular base, so it's going to be one of your triangles, find the area of one of the two triangles, they're always going to be the same, and you're going to multiply that by the height of our triangular prism. Okay, remember the height of your triangular prism is different than the height of your triangle, believe it or not. So the height of your triangle is always that line that comes straight off of your 90-degree angle, okay, and we see our 90-degree angle here. The height of your prism is always the lines that connect your two triangles. You have your one triangle here, you have the triangle back here that you can't see. The lines that connect them are this one, and one back here that you can't really see, and that line is 8, okay. So to start solving this problem, let's find the area of our triangle base first. So the area of our triangle base first. So that's always going to be base area equals, and I want to actually do this in red, base times height divided by 2 for a triangle. So let's do that. So the base, again, find your 90-degree angle on your triangle. Here's my 90-degree angle. So my base always is going to go this way, and my height is right off of that. Okay, so my base is 4, and my height is, it's pointing to, it's 6. So it's going to be 6 times 4. Okay, and then you have to, your formula says base times height divided by 2. So divide that by 2. Okay, so 24 divided by 2, and that equals 12 when you do that math. Make sure you use a calculator. You might want to do it a few times to make sure you didn't make a mistake. So now I found the first part of my formula. I found the area of my triangular base. Okay, again, I'm not going to go ahead and do that again for the second one. Not for the area. You only need the area of one of your triangular bases, so it's 12. Now, to find the area, or the next part of my formula, which is the height of the prism, remember again, that's the lines that connect your two triangles. So my triangle here and my triangle here, what lines connect the two triangles? Well, these lines, that one, and the one back here that you can't see. And that line is 8 inches long. So the height of my triangular prism is 8. So I'm going to now go ahead and say volume equals area of the triangle base we found was 12 times the height of my prism, again, the lines that connect my two triangles, is 8. And that equals, when you do that, 96 inches cubed with the label. Okay? So the tricky part here is, can you find the height of your triangle? And then can you find the height of the prism? They're different heights. Okay?